It was an early morning in Ponyville. Scootaloo arrived to School of Friendship, and she saw her best friends, Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom, standing by the entrance. They had actually been attending this school together for the past 2 years, and they were just happy to be able to take part of this particular school. "Morning, Scoots," said Apple Bloom with a smile. "Morning. Have you two been waiting for long?" "No, not at all," said Sweetie Belle. "We only been waiting for a few minutes. Should we head inside?" "Yeah, let's do that." The school didn't start actually around 8 a.m., but they arrived around only 5 minutes early, which they usually do. They were just standing in the hallway, small talking. By the way, Scootaloo, have you heard anything from your parents?" asked Sweetie Belle. "Yes, I actually have, but unfortunately they won't be able to come by for next month since they're away for an assignment." "Well, that's a bummer," said Apple Bloom. "Well, I mean, their work is always busy and always very important." "Yeah, I mean, it's true, but at least you have your aunts, though, to keep you company, except for your best friends," said Apple Bloom with a smile. Yeah, that's true. I do love my aunt Holiday and Auntie Lofty. I mean, they have been taking care of me since my parents are always away for so much." "I can relate on to that," said Apple Bloom, "since I lost my own parents a long time ago, and since Granny helped me to raise me along with my siblings, so I know what you can how it's like, though. Yeah. By the way, have you two any ideas what you want to do when you're finished school?" Both Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo looked at each other. "No, we haven't really thought about it. I mean, we knew that you wanted to be a Wonderbolt one day, Scoots." "Yeah, but sadly I can't, though." It was later determined that Scootaloo was unable to join the Wonderbolts or even fly. She had always wondered why she hasn't even been able to fly, since most of her classmates at around the same age has been able to fly, but she hasn't. So one day she confirmed with her doctor, along with her aunts, that Scootaloo had a form of disability that made her unable to fly. Even though she can't fly, with the big support from her family and her friends, with all the support and comfort, she was able to get over it. But she said, "Well, since I can't be a Wonderbolt, even though that was my biggest dream, but there is another dream I have." "Oh, well, since you know that Rainbow had, trained me how the Buckball works, the basic rules, how the game works and all that, and even had some, one-on-one game together. Yeah, I thought maybe that I could join the Buckball of Ponyville one day." "Oh, well, I mean, it's not a bad choice, considering at least you have an advantage." "Oh, what kind of that?" Sweetie Belle asked. "Considering that you have been trained by Rainbow, one of the founders of Ponyville's Buckball team, when you're saying like that, then yeah, I can understand you have an advantage." "Yeah, what about you, Sweetie Belle?" she asked. Um, I might just actually start helping with my sister for boutique." "What about you, Apple Bloom?" "Well, it's not a doubt saying that I will helping my family at the farm, but yeah, maybe around that as much." Suddenly, the bell rang. "Oh, we should hurry up to the first classes." They all said that they will see each other around during the first recess. And they didn't have the same class in the morning. Scootaloo had class with Rainbow Dash that morning. Just before Rainbow started having her class, there was a knock on the door. "Hey, Dashy, can I have a talk to you for a moment?" Uh, yeah, what is it, Twilight?" "Well, we have a new student here." All right. Um, every pony. Um, we have a new student here at the school, and I want you all to make him feel comfortable and welcome here. Every pony of the class started whispering each other among each other, wondering who this new student can have been. This is not the first time a new student just simply start working or going to this school, but they wonder if it was a pony or maybe another creature. You can come in now, and suddenly that was not a pony, but it was in fact a lion. Most ponies had never seen a lion. This everyone is Kovu. He had just been transferred to live here, and he is actually one of the new students that I want to introduce. And if there's any pony here that's willing to, help me to show me around after class is over, you will have the excuse that have been passing some other classes until it's finished. Is there any volunteers? Scootaloo raised her hoof and said, Twilight, I can do it. I will count on you, Scootaloo. And afterwards, Kovu introduced himself. Well, I am Kovu. I am happy to be able to go here, and, well, I am hoping that I will be able to make friends here. Well, you can take a seat behind Scootaloo. And after all this, even after the class was over, there were a few students that actually talked to Kovu. But then, Scootaloo walked up to him, and she introduced herself, and she started showing him around, like how to find the school nurse office, the gym classes were going to be held, cafeteria, school library, and other places. Afterwards, when they were finished, he thanked her, and she took him to the next class where he was supposed to be. And even during lunch break in cafeteria, I heard that there was a new student here. Yeah, but not a pony, but a lion, said Apple Bloom. That's new. Yeah, I only heard about the lions. What about them? Asked Scootaloo. Wait, you haven't heard? No. Well, you see, the lions lives in the woods mostly in the northern part of Equestria. They're been rarely been seen so far, as much as here. But what I heard from my sister, they're really talented. Oh? Yeah, they actually are not only just your average lions, like a felines. They actually are really skilled in martial art and in magic. Wait, the lions can practice magic? Yeah, apparently so. Even I was a little skeptical about it, but it's possible maybe all of them can, or I wonder what kind of magic Kovu can do, asked Sweetie Belle. Well, we can only ask him because he's over there. Sweetie Belle actually turned around and they went over to him and he went down to sit next to them. So, Kovu, what do you think about Ponyville so far and the school? Oh, it's, well, it's a new environment. Um, Assuming you lived in the mountains, yeah, actually it did. But living here, it's gonna be quite of a challenge, you know. I mean, buildings, we didn't even have that where I lived. We all lived in caves and all that and stuff, you know. Is it true that the lions can practice magic? Yeah, they actually can. What kind of magic can you do? Mostly, uh, like a increased strength, speed, illusions, something like that kind of things. What about martial art? I heard that lions are a master at that. Oh yeah, I'm a mastery of that actually already. I mastered that when I was like 12 years old. Wow, so young, said Scootaloo. Yep, it's well, sometimes the lions can actually practice and you know reach a master level. Um, Sometimes at 12, maybe 14, 15. But it depends, depend on how when you start and how much you focus on it. Well, it's something I can stand. Rest of the lunch event went perfectly well. In fact, the rest of the week, Scootaloo was interested more in Kovu, mostly because that she wanted to be more friends with him. And after first day, they actually started talking sometimes together even after school. They were just a lot of conversations. She learned more about his family, that he was not the only one who didn't have siblings. He had like 5 siblings total. And he was just happy to be chosen to be able to get to go to school friendship. He was among the few that was actually selected, but eventually he was the one that chosen to go. And he felt proud and honored. Even though in the beginning he was very skeptical about this school friendship was even a good thing. But he told his family that he would go there and give it a try. After all, he heard stories about other species or creatures have been going to school, like dragons, jacks, and others. And he was being the first lion to being able to go to school. He felt honored, and he hoped that maybe one day other of his kind were able to be going to school as well. And one day when Scootaloo was just by herself, suddenly she was cornered by at least a few ponies. They were known as the troublemakers in town. They weren't students at a school of friendship like herself. They were just a little bit older herself. They were about 16, almost 17 years old. They cornered her and started calling her some bad names and all that. Like, here's a girl's a pony that can't even fly. How does it feel like you can't fly? And one of the boys started flying himself to show off. It made her feeling upset. But before she could do anything, suddenly she heard a commotion. She closed her eyes, and when she opened her eyes, the boys were on the ground, almost unconscious or just, well, heavy breathing. And in front of them, it was Kovu. Turned out Kovu heard about what's happening. In fact, he even saw in a distance that what was happening. And he couldn't stand to see his new friend to being bullied by this. So he ran up to them, used his martial arts skills and the magic, and managed to defeat them quite easily. After that, he told them, if you would do this ever again, I will make sure that you will be having maybe a cast of your hooves for a couple of months. Sorry, the bullet said and ran off. Well, that's taken care of. Are you okay, Scootaloo? Yeah, I am. Thanks. I hope they didn't hurt you. No, they didn't. I didn't want to hurt them since, my kind prefer only use martial arts as self-defense. But I didn't hurt them that badly, though. I just gave them some, oh, you know, a slight tap on their heads. He laughed, referring to like just a bun. It's like just a simple hit in the head and punch there, a little push there in the stomachs like that, so they would just fall over. He was fast. Combined with his magic skills and his martial arts skills, and the fact he was a lion, he was easily defeated and quite quickly. After this, he asked her if she was okay doing it again. She nodded. And she asked him if he wanted to go maybe to grab an ice cream. He said, yeah, why not? I'm actually not up for some ice cream. So they went to this ice cream shop in town. They talked more about his martial art, and she was actually very somehow felt happy and also a little bit worried if the bullies will ever come back to do this again, or maybe target him. But then she realized if he defeated them that easily, it was very unlikely they would just simply target him, due to the fact that they would simply be defeated once again so easily. After they left the ice cream shop, she had to go because she had to do some at home. But the following days, Scootaloo couldn't stop thinking of Kovu. After what he did, after he saved her only a few days earlier, she started to notice she actually had a crush on him. But for Scootaloo, this was not something new, because she had never had a crush on any pony before. So she was clueless in what to do. So she decided to ask her best friends for advice. So one afternoon, she was at the clubhouse with her friends. They were just small talking and playing cards together, when suddenly Scootaloo thought it was time to ask for advice from her friends. I had to ask you two for some advice in something. Yeah, well, what is it? Scoots, said Applebloom. Well, this is something I never had experienced before, and I'm actually a bit nervous how to even approach this to you two. But I have a crush on some pony. Hearing those words, Sweetabelle immediately had big eyes of excitement. Oh, who is it? Tell us. Is it Rumble? No, it's not Rumble. He's just a friend of ours. But let me guess. It's Kovu, said Applebloom with a smile. But how did you know? Well, I mean, you told us that he saved you from those bullies but a while back. So, assume that maybe that was the trigger of your crush on him. Yeah, you're right. And I just don't know how to even approach this. I never been in any relationship or as long even had a crush on any pony. So I don't really know what to do. Well, best what I can tell, Scootaloo, said Applebloom, is to simply be honest about yourself. Approach the one that you love and just be honest. Just listen to your heart, and that will always work. Yeah, I agree with her, said Sweetabelle. I know, but I just don't know if that's gonna work or not. Hey, you won't know that until you try it, said Sweetabelle. Well, I might try to find a way, or at least find the right moment to telling him. You will find the right moment just when you know at least, said Sweetabelle. Thanks, I appreciate for the support and some advice though. Even after that day, Scootaloo always felt really nervous when she either saw Kovu or even talked to him. It happened that they were also having some, they were partners in certain classes together, and just being near him that made him even more her heart was racing so fast she could barely try to even keep her calm. But one day when she was just at the park, suddenly she heard some voices. And at the same moment, she was surrounded. And with the same bullies as the last time. One of them said, You made us look so embarrassed. You need to get punished for that. But Scootaloo, when she's trying to say something, just shut up. Do you think people want to hear your voice? Said one of the others. But just listen to us. You either just being quiet or we'll hurt you. Oh really? Do you really want to hurt her? They turned around and saw Kovu looking angry at them. Ah, that's him. Well, this time we will have an advantage. We outnumber you. Oh, really? Give it your best try, he said. They all ran up to him, but this time Scootaloo didn't close her eyes. She literally saw him, how he kicked, how he jumped, and just basically used his magic to just make his paws glow and made the bullets fly at least a few feet in some bushes, and somebody was even knocked unconscious almost immediately. One of them like, we can never beat this one. I suggest that you leave her and stop bullying others, he yelled at them. Well, we will. It's not worth to be beat up like this, said one of the ponies, almost in a daze. After that, they just walked off, well, slowly. Are you okay, Scootaloo? Yeah. That was just awesome. I mean, I knew that you were skilled, but I never saw the first time, but this is just... Well, what can I say? Practice always here that leads to that. But, I mean, you are the coolest I ever seen. But then Kuba said, you know, I hope that they didn't hurt you this time. I wouldn't want them to hurt you. The coolest, the awesome, and the most beautiful mare of the Questia, which I had ever seen. That obviously made her start blushing, and she said, you know, I admit, I actually have feelings for you. And that made him look at her a little bit surprised, but then he said, I admit that I have a crush on you too, from the very second I first saw you back then when I started school. I feel attracted to you. But, you know, I wasn't sure if this is gonna work it is, since after all, I'm a lion and you're a pony. And I didn't know how your friends or family, or even my family would even, you know, react to that. Yeah, but my family, or at least my best friends, knows about it, and they actually support it. Really? They do? I mean, yeah. I mean, considering at least that... I mean, considering for one thing, there are a few non-pony couples in Ponyville. Oh, really? There's? Well, you mean, you know, Miss Rarity? Yeah, she's actually dating Spike. Oh, you mean the dragon? Yeah. Wow, I had no idea. Well, they've been dating for a couple of years now. Oh. But if you're willing, I'm actually, you know, want to be with you. If you're willing to. I mean, yeah. I'm actually, have been thinking of asking you out for a while now, but just, I had no idea how to even approach it. Oh. Well, at least now we know can try at least. True. From that day, they actually confessed their feelings, and it didn't take long for the entire town to know about their now officially dating. Polis was actually happy, especially Twilight. She was happy to know that the new student actually had formed another bond with one of the Ponyville's residents. But even there were some times that they couldn't see each other due to the fact of his training and that Scootaloo had suddenly joined Ponyville's buckball team for part-time. But one day, after they had just been dating for 3 months, it was during the summer break, Scootaloo was told from Kovu that he was going back to his home for about a couple of weeks, for about 2 weeks of at least. Then he asked her if she wanted to join him, so that he could introduce her to his family. She was actually a little bit curious how they would even react, because at least her Aunt Holiday and Aunt Lofty had accepted Kovu as her boyfriend. But she was a little bit curious, but also a little bit hesitating because she didn't know how the other lions would have even react. That one of their own kind is dating a non-lion creature. But she wanted to meet because it would have been not fair if he had encountered or at least introduced to her family, what if he hasn't even introduced her to his family. So they took the train, and when they arrived later to his home, he was actually he was actually greeted by his five siblings at the train station. Kovu, you're home, brother. Oh, oh, who's this? Your friend? Um, Let me guess, brother. This is your girlfriend, Scootaloo, that you told us about? Yeah, it is. Well, mom and dad will be quite surprised, but they are happy to know, though. So, even though at least that Scootaloo had nobody to worry about his friends and his brothers and sisters, but when she met his parents, there's nothing to worry about. They were actually really excited. And even some of his Kuba's old friends back home was really happy to see that he found some pony. During the 2 weeks there, she learned more about Kuvu and even more about the lion's culture, and even studied some of their other art, magic arts, and even their martial art. And she was really impressed. But after 2 weeks, they went back to Ponyville. He promised his family that he would be back soon for another visit. And during this time, the relationship between Kovu and Scootaloo had only grown stronger. It was a lot of obvious that there were times even Scootaloo was worried if this relationship was gonna be long term or if it's gonna be an ending at some point. She was just worried about it. She even told Kovu about that, but he assured her it was nothing to worry about. But then, after a few years later, they actually both finished the School of Friendship. And to both of her surprise, when they were finished the school together, she was actually worried that Kovu was going back home. But to her big shocking surprise, Kovu actually had decided to remain in Ponyville with her. She had at the time also been a full-time member of Ponyville's buckball team. She was actually happy, and not a surprise, Kovu had actually started joining the practice. In fact, he had also joined the same team. This was the first time a lion was playing buckball. They even actually started playing against other towns like Appaloosa, Canterlot, and even Crystal Empire. Eventually, they had made champions in a national game. But after have been dating for about 6 years, both now in their mid-20s, Kovu proposed to Scootaloo when they were actually on a picnic at the meadows outside Ponyville. And she said yes. She was excited about it. Who would it not be? Even though they decided to have a wedding in Ponyville, of course, Kovu had invited his both parents and his siblings. They had also invited her family, like her aunts and, of course, her parents. But there was just before the wedding, only a couple of days, there were a message from her parents saying that they were unlikely won't be able to attend the wedding. That made her heartbroken. She had at least hoped that her whole family could have been there. So Kovu, he had a surprise because just on the day of the wedding, Scootaloo was actually looking very sad. But when she told from Apple Bloom, since the tradition that the bride couldn't see the groom, so Apple Bloom showed her a surprise. Mom, Dad? How are you two here? And I thought you wouldn't even maybe coming over. Well, we had someone at some point that actually came to invite us personally. Eh? Who? Kovu. Wait, is that the reason why he left Ponyville for a few days? Yeah, he did actually run. He tracked us down and just told us that you looked so disappointed that we couldn't be here. So we managed to finish our task or our assignment a little bit earlier than we expected, and we took the train as fast as we could back here, and here we are, she said to her mom. I'm so happy you two can even be here. We didn't want to miss our only girl's special day, said her dad. And after that, the wedding went perfectly well, and even afterwards, when Scootaloo and Kovu were dancing together at the party, she said, "Thank you, Kovu. Don't mention it. I'm just happy. Well, I just want to see you smile. And I understand if you would have done the same thing for me. Oh yeah, I would have tried to brought your family here, if I could. I appreciate it." Every pony had a good time on the wedding. And later in the afternoon, they actually went to Las Pegasus for 2 weeks for the honeymoon. And there they had just a great time, enjoying the rides, enjoying some magical shows, and just having such romantic time. They were actually happy to have entered a new chapter in their lives together. But just 1 year after they'd been married, they wanted to start a family. But sadly, they learned that they were unable to have any children together. So, they decided to adopt instead. They approached this adoption agency in Ponyville. After some time, they approved. They managed to adopt 2 siblings, 2 daughters actually. They were really happy to have Scootaloo as a mother, but having Kovu as a father, a lion. They were first hesitating, a little bit scared, but after seeing how kind he was, how smart, and especially how his martial arts skills and all that, they were actually very open after that. Scootaloo had, after all this time, never even imagined that she would fall in love with a lion. Even Kovu himself has never even thought of ended up dating a pony. Because Scootaloo realized if Kovu had never had been chosen to be there, she may have never met her true love. And for Kovu, he thinks the same thing. Because he realized that she is the one that he wants to be with. And they were just so both happy about it. And this is how Kovu and Scootaloo found their true love, got a big family together. The end.